Hey, we are fast approaching the 10-year anniversary of TianChi on the market. And so I thought it was appropriate to sit down and talk a little bit about drinking TianChi. You know, TianChi has evolved so much over the years. We've added, lately methylcobalamin and methylfolate, which are two methylated forms of B vitamins that your brain and nervous system has to have to actually regenerate and repair nerve tissue. And so they're integral to how you maintain and sustain focused attention and how to maintain your brain as you age. You have to have these two things. A lot of people cannot absorb folic acid in the form that it's in most vitamins because they're either genetically have a problem with it. You know, half the population has some genetic defect that doesn't allow them to convert folic acid into methylfolate, which is the form your body actually needs. And then a lot of people just have poor digestion, so they don't really absorb much of it. Same way with B12. You need something called intrinsic factor to absorb B12. And there are so many people with digestive issues that they don't actually make the chemicals needed to convert the cobalamin in their diet from natural food sources into something that can actually be used by their brain. And so we use methylcobalamin, which is again the methylated form that your body just soaks up. So that's some of the ways that we've actually enhanced it, and we're always refining and cleaning the drink up and making it better tasting, and it's a process that goes on and has been going on for 10 years. But I want to talk a little bit about drinking it, because I've learned so much about just the simple act of getting it in your system that I want to share a little bit about that. And first off, we always told everybody that you have to drink it on an empty stomach. You first thing in the morning, you have to do this. It's the optimum way to take it. You know, and that's still true, especially if you're someone who's extremely stressed out, your brain is imbalanced, it needs to come into a more coherent pattern of energy and to relieve stress. These are all important things you need to consider and why you would want to take it first thing in the morning. Now, there's another class of people that just cannot live without that morning cup of coffee and having breakfast right away. They're starving when they wake up. They got to have this thing. Hey, and that's fine. Just go ahead and have breakfast, have your cup of coffee. You know, if you're going to work, wait till 10:30, that natural break you have, or a little bit before lunch, take your TianChi then. It's been at least 2 to 3 hours since you've eaten anyway, and it's still going to have amazing results in your system. And so I want to talk a little bit about flavor, though, because there's a small percentage of people that really have a problem with the flavor of TianChi. And it's funny because if they stick with it for a week, they start to love it. So I've had it suggested to me that it all depends on the pH balance of the person drinking it as to whether they'll like it or not. And that always changes within a week. So keep that in mind. Or you could try my favorite way to actually take it is by cutting open a lemon and squeezing a little lemon juice in it. I love TianChi with lemon juice. It's my favorite way to actually drink it. That little bit of lemon offsets the sweet in it, and surprisingly, it even makes it digest easier. So that's one way to do it. Now, another way to do it was taught to me by my kids. I have teenagers, and they don't drink TianChi every day, but I give it to them when they want it, and they always want it on test days or some day when they have a lot of exams or studying. They really got a lot of mental activity that day. They always want a TianChi, and their favorite way to take it is actually in a chocolate protein drink. My kids use a chocolate protein drink called Orgain, which we pick up at Costco, and they like it. It's a vegan drink, and I just make it as usual, dump a TianChi in it, and whip it up, and it's an amazing raspberry chocolate drink. I have to admit, it tastes incredible. And they get all the benefits. It's not as quick. In fact, it eases it into their system a little bit, which I like for them because they're younger. And you might want to consider that yourself, how it slows down the digestion of it, but you still get all the full benefits. I actually still put almond butter in their milkshake too, so they get a little raw almond butter with the chocolate protein shake and the TianChi all at once. And that sustains them until lunch, because they don't eat lunch until 6 hours after they're having their TianChi. So that's one way to do it. Another way that I really like, besides the lemon, is, you know, the big craze on MCT oil. I actually really like MCT oil in TianChi. I like putting a tablespoon or two in it, put it in a shaker, really shake it up or blend it, get it whipped up, and then drink it. That little bit of fat, which I, by the way, experimented with a lot, how to put a powdered MCT in TianChi, but it became too big of a drink. But I knew that that fat would actually smooth things out, and it does. It smooths all the taste out in it. I get the extra brain boost of the MCT oil, and it makes it quite an interesting drink. Now, the last way I want to share with you is another way that my kids taught me, and I find this fascinating. My one daughter loves to dump it in a blender or a shaker cup with just plain unsweetened vanilla almond milk. Now, you wouldn't think that does much to it, but what it does is that little bit of almond milk and that vanilla tends to just even out the flavors, takes the edge off of it. And you have to drink it right away because it tends to separate just a little bit, because there's not a lot of body in unsweetened almond milk and there's no fat in it. So you just kind of whip it up. It does taste pretty good, I have to admit, and that's how one of my kids like to take it. But what I really want you to know is that it's more important to get TianChi in your system than it is to worry about if it's the perfect timing or if it's the perfect balance of things you're mixing it with. Just don't mix it with another vitamin drink. Don't mix it with something that contains a lot of vitamins or nutrients, something like a green food drink or a powdered antioxidant mix. There's just way too many antioxidants in TianChi already, and taking all of that stuff at one time is too much. Your body can only handle so much auric value of antioxidants, and if you're going to load it all up at one time, you're just wasting your money. So it's okay to mix it with a protein drink. It's okay to mix it with some fats like MCT oil and some other things, but don't load up other vitamin products with it. It also has a certain balance to it with the herbal formula and the nutrients that has to be kept somewhat intact for it to do its great magical properties of bringing about brain coherence and lowering your stress. So those are some tips on taking TianChi, and I want to thank everybody who's been around with us for the last 10 years for continuing to love it and to let us know how they feel on it and continuing to tell their friends. So thank you.